The courtroom had drawn silent. Escorted by two guards, a man in an orange jumpsuit stumbles to sit next to an attorney. You, along with your fellow jurors, sit in anticipation for the first of the three cases you've been assigned to. Now, after the long and tedious trial in which the defendant had been confirmed insane by psychoanalysis, the defense attorney makes his closing statement. "Ladies and gentlemen of the jury," he begins, "this case is not about excusing a terrible act, but understanding the context in which it happened. Now, evidence has shown that the defendant was suffering from severe mental illnesses at the time of the incident. This impaired his ability to act wrong or right. So we ask you to render a verdict that reflects both justice and compassion, acknowledging that the defendant's mental state makes them incapable of true culpability." Now you start to find yourself siding with the defendant. Surely what the man deserves is help at a mental institute, not prison. A buzzer rings and in walks the second defendant, guided by two guards. This trial goes along smoothly, and it's finally time for closing statements. "Ladies and gentlemen of the jury," he says again, "this man does not deserve the proposed 27 years. While yes, he killed a person, but this does not take into account the growing tumor in his head. This tumor is in the exact spot that it presses against the part of his brain that controls aggression. Therefore, his impairment of judgment was due to an outside factor that caused him to kill. Because of these circumstances, he deserves a lessened sentence." Again, you may think, well, he makes a compelling case. Did he really do anything wrong if the tumor is what caused him to act that way? What if it were I who got the tumor? Maybe I would have done it. Now it's time for the final case. And in walks a calm man this time, and he's guided by only one guard. As usual, the proceedings go pretty routinely. It's finally time for the closing statements. "Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, yes, this man killed someone, and yes, he did it intentionally, but he is not culpable for these crimes. You're offended. How can he claim this? What the man did is a monstrosity. Of course he should be locked away." Then the attorney continues, "You see, my client killed because his brain told him to. And while there are no physical impediments to his brain, he has been affected by every event in his life to be this exact way in which he has no control over. More so, these events were registered through his brain that's been developed from genetics that were not of his choosing. As you can see, my client had no say in this murder. How can we punish someone who's completely impotent to the situation?" You see, this is a thought experiment that demonstrates the difficulties in distinguishing moral blame. If we blame serial killers for the actions their brains tell them to do, why do we treat cases of insanity differently when it is still an effect of the brain? Or better yet, why don't we provide the same reformative treatment to the mindful killer? Ultimately, this discussion is a debate of the self. Is there any compelling case that the insanity of the mind is less a part of the self than the urge to kill in a serial killer who is sane? These issues arise from a materialist or substance dualist view of the mind-body problem, which view the mind as part of a physical thing that's either located in or is our bodies. These views reject an essence or a soul that's separate from the body. In these views, where a pure dualist would say that insanity is an impediment to the true soul, a materialist has no basis to say that insanity is any different than a normal thought or experience. Thank you for watching this video. I really appreciate you taking the time, and I would also love it if I could see some feedback down below. Things I could be doing better, or just some ideas that you would love to see a video about. And as always, thank you for daring to know. I'm Nathaniel Dillon, and I'll see you next time.